Honey Hole Fisheries right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, is a professional biologist who specializes in lake management. If you are interested in helping build the pond or lake of your dreams, or if you need help deciding if property you own is a good location to build a pond, you can contact Jeff Bagwell at 205-799-0192. Once again, that is Jeff Bagwell and Honey Hole Fisheries at 205-799-0192. Contact him today and let him help you build the lake or pond of your dreams, or also stock your pond or lake with fish that you most desperately need. Just when we thought college football could not get any crazier, the Michigan head coach was fired with cause yesterday and then potentially turned over to the authorities pending potential charges. What is going on in Ann Arbor, Michigan right now, right after this open? Adam Rittenberg, senior writer for ESPN, will join us on this edition of the Stingray Show to talk about the updated information surrounding Sherrone Moore and Michigan and where they go from here with a bowl game pending right after this.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Look out, you're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No, I mean, look, no.
Heath, Stingray, Here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good. It's kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah. But then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, with the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
And with that, I want to welcome you inside yet another edition of the Stingray Show. And guys, I've got to ask you, and this is a in general question, what in the world is going on in the world of college football? First off, we had the Lane Kiffin saga of him holding Ole Miss hostage, whether he decided whether he wanted to go to Florida or to LSU. And then with them having the best season on record and them unprecedentedly making the 12-team playoff, he leaves and says, "See you later, I'm going to LSU." Then you turn around and you have what everybody is calling a Notre Dame snub in the college football playoffs. And then as a result of that, everybody in Notre Dame decides to opt out of a bowl game, take their ball and go home because they are very disappointed in the committee and the selection. And you've got Notre Dame going back and forth with the ACC. And now you have a major issue with a firing of a coach at Michigan with cause. As you thought college football could not get any crazier, hold my beer, because it just got a lot crazier. And to break down the entire Michigan situation and what we know right now, here is ESPN senior writer Adam Rittenberg, who is up in that area outside of Chicago and does know the ins and outs of the latest on the Sherrone Moore and Michigan situation. Adam, how are things with you, and what is the latest that you can tell us about the situation with the Michigan Wolverines?
Yeah, good to be with you, Stephen. Yeah, I would say that Sherrone Moore is still in the Washtenaw County Jail, waiting to be arraigned, which could happen later today. There still haven't been formal charges against him. What those could be, you could vary from assault to other type of domestic issues. Still TBD there, but
Right.
I think his being taken into custody was partially for the criminal reasons, but also for his own well-being. He was not, as you can imagine, in a very good state of mind on Wednesday afternoon after this all went down there in Ann Arbor. And so just a very shocking and kind of sad story all around, but one that certainly impacts Michigan and college football as they try to find their next head coach. But yeah, I think we'll have a little bit more clarity on Sherrone's legal situation a bit later on today.
Adam, how surprised are you that Michigan made the move to fire him with cause?
Well, there have been rumors throughout the season that he could be in trouble for possibly something, in the range of what it turned out to be. The question was, would Michigan have enough evidence to end up firing Sherrone, especially as you guys know, firing a coach for cause is very difficult to do in major college football, and you really have to have ironclad evidence that there was an impropriety, the violation of university policy that they outlined in their release on Wednesday. And, I spoke to somebody who would know a few weeks ago, and they said, listen, we looked into it. We did not believe we had enough evidence to make a change at that time. And clearly that changed here in the last few days. And that's why Sherrone's no longer the coach. And it's very rare, I would also say, for a school to announce a for-cause firing and the reason for that firing. And so Michigan must feel fairly strongly that it has the evidence to show that this relationship existed.
Adam, you kind of answered my question there. Did you ever hear anything about it? You said you heard things earlier this season. Making light and a joke of this, did you immediately laugh when you heard about a certain coach in Baton Rouge they were trying to fire with calls? Because I immediately laughed when that story came out a couple of weeks ago. Did you get any details about that? Because I was like, what is LSU doing? It seems like they don't have anything together right now, and they're just making stuff up as they go along. And that just seemed insane, over the top, completely chaos and unorganized. Your thoughts on Brian Kelly being let go for calls, and what did you hear about that when it happened?
Yeah, I mean, it was a Hail Mary on LSU's part because the firing clearly stemmed from the performance in the A&M game, whereas this is a very different situation. Michigan was just Sherrone Moore on Monday, 3 days ago now, who was talking about Michigan being in the Citrus Bowl against Texas and a 9-3 season. So clearly was not linked to performance. This was something different, and there was no. It was much easier to draw a connection there. Whereas LSU was, in that 48, 72-hour period after that A&M loss, was scrambling on a number of fronts, and one of them was trying to find a reason to fire Brian Kelly for cause. So that went very much as I expected it to. That Brian was going to get paid every last cent of what he was owed, because that was not a legitimate for cause firing, whereas this appears to be just that here at Michigan.
Did you laugh immediately like I did when you heard that?
I just thought it was, again, especially in light of the comments from the governor, Jeff Landry, an attempt for LSU to save money, which was, heading into what was going to be a very expensive transaction. I didn't think it was going to be a successful attempt.
So, Adam, I do want to ask you. I know that you said you could only give us about 10 to 15 minutes this morning. Looking ahead with the Michigan Bowl game and then moving forward, I have heard rumors out there that there could potentially be interest in Brian Kelly with Michigan and Kalen DeBoer. You are on the forefront of this. Who do you feel like that Michigan will go after, and especially do you think it is DeBoer?
And please squash the John Gruden rumor
Yeah,
immediately if you
it's
can.
not gonna be John Gruden. I mean, it's not gonna be anyone with anything troubling in their
Right.
past. And I'm not trying to compare any coach directly to what's happened here with Sherrone Moore. I think it would be extremely difficult, Stephen, if not impossible, to hire Brian Kelly at Michigan. It
Okay.
would not be difficult, nor would it be impossible to hire Kalen DeBoer. I think Kalen DeBoer would be the target and
Okay.
absolutely at the top of the list for Michigan. Kalen got his first FBS job just minutes from Michigan Stadium at Eastern Michigan, where he was the offensive coordinator. It's where I met him for the first time.
Okay.
And he moved on to Fresno State and then came back to the Big Ten at Indiana and then got his first head coaching job with Fresno State. So, Kalen would be the dream hire under these circumstances. The challenge, guys, is going to be whether Michigan pursues any of the coaches who recently reached agreements to stay at their existing schools, because my understanding of those contracts is you obviously have an initial buyout to leave, but I think if you try to move within the first 100 days of signing a contract, that amount is much higher even than the 8 or 9 or 10 million it would be to leave during the first year of the deal. So that may be a prohibitive type thing for Michigan, whether it's a Clark Lee or one of these other coaches who re-signed, who certainly might fit the Michigan job, but it just isn't the right timing.
And Adam, finally, I do want to ask you, please give us your preview of what we can expect in the playoffs from the 12 football teams.
Well, I'm a lot more excited about the quarterfinals and the first round matchups, other than Texas A&M and Miami. I don't know how compelling we're going to see, how much compelling football we'll see in that first round. Maybe I'll be surprised, but you look at the potential of the quarterfinals, and there's some heavyweight likely matchups, especially Oregon, Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Really excited for that one. You're going to have possibly Ohio State against Texas A&M there in Dallas, which is essentially a home game for the Buckeyes, much like they faced last year against Texas in the semifinal, or Ohio State Miami, which obviously has a great tradition going back to the 2001 national title game, the controversial ending there, and then you have Georgia on their side of the bracket, and how they'll match up in the quarterfinals. So it'll be I think it'll really get going around January 1st, and then it should be incredibly compelling the rest of the way, because you could have an Ohio State Indiana rematch, you could have Georgia making a run. Miami now getting in the playoff, I think, has the potential to make a serious run. Oregon, how do they redeem themselves after last year's early playoff exit? And then Texas A&M, they absolutely deserve their seed in this deal and have a defense that now will be matched up with the best teams in the country. So there's a lot of really interesting storylines all the way from 1 to 12.
Adam, I'll ask you this as we walk out the door. Defense, is it going to be a premium? I'm hearing a couple of takes where it looks like defense could be a massive premium in this playoffs. Whoever has the best defense is probably going to win this, which doesn't really shock anybody. But if you look at college football, a lot of people are scoring huge points. Indiana scored huge points all year. Ohio State scored huge points all year. When they met each other, it was a rock fight. Is it going to be defense that's going to win this thing out? Because if it is, Oklahoma just became a little bit prettier.
They did. I'd be real surprised, Heath, if Oklahoma goes very far in this deal, just because of their offensive issues. But their defense is up to standard, and there are a lot of them. I mean, Texas Tech deserves your respect defensively. This is an outstanding unit. Indiana deserves your respect defensively. Obviously, Ohio State, with what they've done throughout the season, already has that respect. Georgia has that respect over what they've done over time. Alabama is a pretty good defensive team. So you're probably right that we're going to see maybe more games in the teens and 20s than in the 30s and 40s because of the overall defensive talent in this field. Oregon is a heck of a defense. With a lot of players who are set to come back in the 2026 season, and Oregon kind of strikes me as a team that might even be a year away from being how good it can be, and it's already number 5. So a lot of good defenses up and down the list that are going to be in the field. Ole Miss is another one. Yes. Terrific defense.
Adam, look, man, thank you as always for jumping on and giving us the latest information. Please be safe in your travels going around and covering these playoffs games. Merry Christmas to you and yours, and we would love to catch up with you later on, okay?
Yep. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Adam. Be good, brother.
All right. So, Heath, first off, let me say I hope that you had a wonderful birthday on Tuesday. And man,
yeah, I turned 21, man. It was great.
Yeah, I hope you had a wonderful birthday. And I also want to get your thoughts on the crazy story out of Ann Arbor that broke yesterday and then really took a sour turn last night when he was turned over to authorities.
The story came out of what's going on and kicked down the door, and there's a knife involved with the girlfriend, or quote side piece was a term being used when coaches were talking. Stephen, so many things are coming out. These are rumors, but if major news outlets are letting these rumors out, well, I was about to say there might be something to it. Look, it's rumors. We do not know for a fact, but it looks like there was a staff member he was having an affair with. The rumor is she had gotten pregnant. He kind of forced an abortion upon her. But her salary got doubled after that. And then she went to the university to talk about her affair. And that led him to go over to her house and kick her door down and pull out a knife and threaten her that she's trying to ruin him and ruin his career.
Gosh.
It wasn't ruined until you kicked down a door and pulled out a knife. I can't say that. It was probably ruined before that. Of forcing an abortion and this and that. These are all rumors. These are not facts yet. These are the rumors. But the stories are now coming out about that stuff. This is insane, Stephen. Look, there is a cultural problem at Michigan. There was a cultural problem at Michigan State. This is not a politically charged statement, but something's going on in the state of Michigan, man. And I don't know if it's that crazy water that's going on in Flint and it's affected the rest of the state. I don't know what's going on in Michigan. It could be spiritual warfare. I don't know. There's a lot of bad vibes and juju going on in the state of Michigan.
Well, Heath, not only Michigan, but in the Big Ten. Look at what happened at Northwestern. Right or wrong, whether Pat Fitzgerald did it or not, I mean, look at what happened at Northwestern.
Yeah, I mean, and Pat Fitzgerald has been clear to that. You know what? I wish Adam was still here to talk about a little bit about that. But this is insane, Stephen. And let's call it what it is. And we have to be honest of what this is. People want to talk about how arrogant Lane Kiffin was and how he treated Ole Miss and how he, built the program up, but he burned every bridge on his way out and burned it to the ground. And, and people want to talk about character and they want to talk about, and we know about the past of people like Hugh Freeze, who's been a friend of this show and he has shown remorse. You can even throw out, Bobby Petrino at Arkansas. You can throw out so many things. There's always an arrogance about coaches, but you didn't hire them for character. You never hired there's not a single football coach that's ever been hired for his character in the last many, many years.
Yeah.
I mean, the only one I can really think of right off the top of my head, and I'm not thinking that long about it, I'm not going to chase this, is maybe Sylvester Croom at Mississippi State. That might be the last time you hired a coach for character, and you're coming off NCAA probation there in Starkville,
Yep.
which got cleared, and Jackie Sherrill won the lawsuit over that, of how the NCAA basically tried to build the deck against him and failed to produce the evidence. But I think we all knew Jackie was cheating.
Right.
But the point is, Stephen, every school will turn a blind eye. Almost every college football fan will turn a blind eye to a coach that doesn't have character, but he wins. He wins at a high level. We don't do it. I mean, Stephen, if we asked every fan in the SEC who has the most character as a head coach, Clark Lee's probably going to win that contest.
Yeah.
But why are we voting for Clark Lee? Because he's soft-spoken and he doesn't lose his mind that much on the sideline and always has this very calm, demure about him. I mean, maybe. But I don't know, man. There's an issue in college sports. It's been there for a long time. And the bigger the sport, the bigger the money, the less character there is. Let's just call it what it is. There's not much character in big-time college football or basketball for that matter.
And Heath, let me also add to that another team that looks like that they are really bad right now in the eyes of the regular, everyday, hot topic media, Notre Dame. Notre Dame did not make the playoffs, and they opted out of a bowl game, and everybody is calling them soft. Everybody is calling them crybabies. Everybody is calling them this, that, and the other. What are your thoughts on that? Because I'm torn because, I do see Tim Brando's side of it, that we're not going to allow you to make money off of us, ESPN, when we weren't allowed to get into a bowl game, especially when our contract is with NBC and not necessarily with ESPN. But I also see where they look like major crybabies for not playing along and going, well, we're not in the playoffs. We're not going to play. So I don't know what to see about that. And then for them to be even bigger crybabies, for them to go at the ACC and them sparring off with the ACC. Now, that was a really bad look for Notre Dame.
I just thought about this, and you touched on it there at the very end. I laugh at Notre Dame of complaining about the ACC.
Yeah.
And look at Florida State when they got left out of the playoff. They blamed the ACC.
Yeah.
Florida State wants to get out of the ACC. You had multiple chances to leave the ACC, but you did not want to play the big boys.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame, you had every opportunity to join any conference you want. The Pac would have taken you back when it was still around. Big 12 would have taken you. The Little 10 would have taken you. The SEC would have taken you. ACC, you did jump in the ACC the year of COVID. You had your choice to jump into any conference, but you didn't. But now you want to blame the conference. I just found that very humorous. Look, I see both sides of the story with Notre Dame. And some people will agree with me, especially the people in the coaching world. I'll give a quick example, and I won't use any names, but there's a kid here locally that I've coached, and he is at a certain school, and his mom's going to be teaching at another school next year, and they kind of wanted to get him in the other school and kind of get going and have more friends and this and that because he's going to graduate from the new school. And so they tried to transfer him over, and one coach was like, the coach at his old school is like, we're not going to clear you to play. We're not going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what about the kid? Why are we not worried about the kid? And I talked to a great friend of mine who coached with this guy and was a coach and an athletic director, and he just said, you've got to protect your program. And I'm like, I want to protect the kid.
Yes.
But I was like, we're here for the kids. That's why we're really here. The school system is set up for children. We have to protect the children, not the program. A lot of people will disagree with me on that. I tell you that story to tell you this. I see both sides of the story. Notre Dame is trying to protect the program. But look at all those guys on your team that you just completely screwed over.
Yeah.
You are there and you exist, and your job pays you very nicely because of Notre Dame football and the guys on that field who fight on that gridiron to bring Notre Dame glory. There's a reason there's a fight song. It's because of that football team. There's a reason for the gold helmet. It's because of that football team. There's a reason for the movie Rudy because of that football team. And it's because of those players, those quote-unquote student athletes. I'm not going to call them student athletes. They're players. Those players are the ones for it. And now you don't get your way about something and you're going to stiff the players. How about you leave it up to the players to vote if they want to play in the bowl game or not? Majority rules.
Yeah.
And instead of this dictatorship of, we didn't get our way, screw you guys. I don't care about you players. This is bigger than you. No, it's not. It's about the players.
Right.
That's how I see it. That's how I saw it here locally. It's about the player. It's about the kid. Let the kid. The kid wasn't going to start. He was going to be a JV player. It wasn't like he was a superstar.
Yeah.
So all of that, I'm about protecting the kids. I'm about protecting the players. Do what's best for the players. There you go. But Notre Dame, was like, oh, we're not going to go to the bowl game. We want you to make money. They're going to make money anyway.
Yeah.
They're going to make money with you or without you. Bye.
Did you hear the news that broke this morning at 7:30?
I might have. My phone's been blowing up all day. What's going on?
All right. This comes from Dan Wolkin, who we had on the show last Friday. And this is from Yahoo Sports as well, where he works. So I think this is pretty credible. After learning of Notre Dame's memorandum of understanding that grants the Irish preferential playoff access starting next year, athletic directors in other Power 6 or Power 4 leagues are threatening to freeze Notre Dame out of future schedules, per Dan Wolkin. So this just took a really nasty turn because athletic directors are basically saying, okay, if you have a written memorandum that you get in the playoffs, guess what? We're not going to line up on the field and we're not going to play you. That's this. I don't see this ending very pretty for either side.
Oh, I can see the TV commercials now. Getting stuffed by big time college football. Call Morgan and Morgan for the people.
Oh my gosh, man!
This is
like on the playground, childish bunch of crap.
It is. It really is, Stephen. It is. Look, I understand both sides. I don't agree with either side.
No.
Do I think Notre Dame should be able to make money off their name? Yes. Do I think Notre Dame should join a conference and not get special treatment? Yes. Do I think Notre Dame should be punished for not joining a conference? If their schedule's not super strong, yes.
Right.
And so, look, they didn't have any credible wins this year to really hang their hat on to get them in the playoff. I understand. I think the committee made the right decision. I do.
USC.
The problem, and I think you would agree with this. I think everybody in America would agree with this. I think most Notre Dames with any kind of logic would agree with this. If they ranked them correctly, of like, hey, Notre Dame, you haven't beat anybody. When they started off 0-2, and some people left them out of the rankings, I think that was fair. But some people were still keeping them at like 20, 21, 25, whatever. And I'm like, they're 0-2. They haven't won a game. How can you rank them? The problem is, and this is where I think everyone would agree, that they got ranked so high because they kept winning each week. And then they got to the end of the year and people started looking down. And they're like, well, we only moved them up in the rankings because the teams in front of them started losing.
Right.
And they never lost. But they're really not that high. They figured that out when it was heading into the conference championships. Like, yeah, I know we ranked you this high and you're on this win streak, but yeah, we probably shouldn't have put you that high. You're probably not ranked correctly there. I don't want to say it. The BCS system might have figured this out the old system. I'm not for the BCS. I don't want to bring it back. Keep all your hate mail and tweets. I don't read them anyway. I'm never on Twitter, X, whatever. But that's the whole thing. Is well, they ranked them too high, and then it got to the end and like, yeah, I think we made a mistake. Everyone ranked these guys too high. How are we going to do this? Just leave them out. Okay, we left them out, and that's where we are.
Their best 2 wins were against a 9-2 Navy football team that plays on Saturday in the Army-Navy game, and the other one was a home win. I believe that was at home against number 16 USC that finished the year at 9-3. So they have no wins over a 10-win football team. The best wins are against 2 9-win football teams.
Is Southern Cal even ranked right now?
16th.
Okay. I was thinking they were, but I wasn't completely sure. So their best win all year is over number 16 Southern Cal.
No. Best win is against Navy because they're 9-2.
And so is Navy even ranked? I didn't even look at the rankings.
I don't think so. But give me a second. I can look. Because they're playing Army. No, they're
Right.
not. They're not. They are not. They're not ranked. No.
So the biggest win as far as the highest ranked team they've beaten is Southern Cal.
16.
I understand why they got left out.
Yeah.
I mean, I see why they would be let in. I
Yeah.
understand why they were left out. I understand both sides of the story. My personal opinion, I think they got it right, but no one's asking me and no one cares what I think. So,
I mean, look, if they would have beaten either Miami or Texas A&M, they're in. They lost
Yeah,
both.
that's fair.
They're out.
That's fair to say. Man, you know what, Stephen? We were bragging on A&M, like I was bragging on them in the first part of the season. Other people started getting on board. You got on board earlier than most as well. Most people started bragging on this team about halfway through the season and talking about them. But they lose that last game to Texas. I think that puts them in a great spot.
I know, but
No one talked about them for so long. Then we started talking about, oh, they lost, and now we're not talking about them anymore. I think A&M's kind of in a sweet spot right now.
But I will tell you this: losing Le'Veon Moss, that offense is just a little bit different because they looked anemic against South Carolina and had to fight and claw to come back to win that game against a 4-win football team. And then Marcel Reed had too much on him in the Texas game.
Yeah, Texas got better as the season went on. You always want your team to get better. You don't want them to start too slow or they're being left out like Texas, like Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You don't want them to start too slow. But, Stephen, that would have been an excellent bowl game. Texas and Notre Dame, I would have watched that.
Yeah.
I would have watched that game. That would have been a fun game. That would have been a really fun game.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, I know Tim Brando wants to make the playoffs smaller, and I get it because I don't think that the 9th-ranked team really has a stake in claiming they should be national champs. But look what happened last year. Ohio State, they barely made the playoff. A lot of people are arguing they shouldn't have made it.
Right.
They won the whole thing. So I see both sides of the coin, but we've said it on the show. I won't beat this horse too long. What are you going to do? Watch reruns of Matlock? More football. That's what we want.
Yes.
That's what we want. Make the playoff. Make it 24 teams. And everyone plays in the conference championship, gets a bye. The other teams have to play. Let's get it on.
Did you hear the news out of the great state of Tennessee yesterday?
Let me think about it. No, hit me with it. I might have.
Tennessee hired a defensive coordinator. Did you hear who they got?
I did hear. Share it with everybody.
Jim Knowles. That is a slam dunk hire as a defensive coordinator because he was formerly at Penn State, and then formerly at Ohio State.
I thought Tennessee's defense this year took a big step back from the year before.
Yeah.
Year before,
They were good.
They were very good. They were super dang good. And then this year I kept thinking, I'm like, Tennessee will figure it out. Tennessee will figure it out on defense. They'll figure it out on defense. And then they didn't.
Right.
I really think the Josh Heupel offense is about how many times they get their hands on the ball. I think it's more about possessions.
Yep.
And with that, they didn't get as many possessions this year because they were in shootouts. Like the game in Starkville is a great example. They're in shootouts and this and that. I think they would have beaten more teams and scored more points if they had a better defense, because that offense is about possessions, repetitions, wearing your defense down, and then running up the score late. Where this year they didn't get the ball back to them as much, and they were basically just trading scores like, we got to outlast you on the field. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't.
So, Heath, I do want to also mention briefly, because we are an SEC show, because 7 teams opted out of a bowl game on Sunday. Mississippi State at 5-7 will be traveling to the Duke's Mayo Bowl on January the 3rd to take on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Heath, your thoughts on Mississippi State making a bowl game? And I will say this, good, bad, right, or wrong, they did back their way into a bowl game. However, for Mississippi State, I think that this is the best thing that could happen to them for one reason only, and that is repetition of getting Camario Taylor ready for next season.
Yeah, and you kind of get to showcase Camario.
Yep.
And that will help in the transfer portal as well, but that game's not going to be played till January 2nd. I can think many reasons why Mississippi State, this is good for Mississippi State. But one, the reps for the young team and getting the bowl practices, that helps tremendously. You got a true freshman at quarterback, made his first start during the Egg Bowl.
Yep.
Put up some crazy great numbers.
I mean,
he really good
numbers.
I
mean, he didn't have a too bad of a football game.
No, and you can see, if you have not seen a Super Camario Taylor yet, Super Camario is once you watch him play, you're like, oh, he's a dude. Like, the kid can run. The kid has a cannon for an arm. He can move. He can shake. He can cut. He can slash. He just needs to be a tad bit more accurate with his passes. He's not a bad quarterback, but there'll be some passes like, he kind of threw that one a half step behind him.
Yeah.
Instead of that pass going for a touchdown, it's going for a first down right now, a 12, 14-yard gain. But you start watching this guy, you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's about to blow it up. Stat-wise, he's about to run the SEC. I mean, kind of like Diego Pavia has, kind of run the stats a little bit, put up video game numbers. Imagine Camario Taylor. Imagine Nick Fitzgerald, but a better passer. And Nick Fitzgerald threw for a lot of yards at Mississippi State. This guy, he's not as fast as Nick Fitzgerald, but my goodness, this guy, Stephen, he can do it all. He is going to be very, very special. He is going to have outstanding numbers. But you look at that, you look at the young team getting reps. But I'll say this. I think this is the biggest reason, Stephen. Mississippi State has backed into a bowl game for a third time now. That probably leads the nation, if I had to guess.
Yes.
Dan Mullen did it the very first time with 5-7. And they went to the St. Petersburg Bowl, I do believe, and played Miami of Ohio. That came down
and won.
Yeah, it came down to a last-second kick, and Mississippi State blocked it and won the game. And that was a fun game. And you hear the administrative, the folks from the administration of Mississippi State, like, the SEC should really think about St. Pete as a bowl game destination. Like drop Shreveport, drop Memphis, drop Birmingham, drop somebody. This St. Pete Bowl, they treated us tremendously well. This is a fun place. We got to play the game inside. We should think about this. And then the hurricane happened, and now that dome's no longer there. They're in the Tampa area. But you get to my point of things. The second time it happened was Mike Leach in 2020. They had a terrible season. Yeah. They had a true freshman quarterback named Will Rogers, and they got the extra bowl practices in. They played in the Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth. And I want to touch on that, Mike Leach. This team still has a bad taste in their mouth from the passing of Mike Leach. Right. Nature ran its course. No one saw it coming. They lost Mike Leach unexpectedly. And Mississippi State's just kind of been in a funk since Mike Leach has passed. And I think everybody was like, that very next season when it just looked very unorganized under Zach Arnett, and they fired him before he even got out of the very first season, fired him 10 games in.
Right.
He didn't even finish the last 2 games. You're like, oh, my gosh, what are we doing? And then you bring in Jeff Lebby, and he only wins 2 games next year.
Yeah.
Mississippi State won 9 games Mike Leach's last year. They were looking at winning 9, 10, 11 games the following year, and they won 5. And the year after that, they won 2.
Yeah.
And so it just got this bad taste of Mississippi State's mouth and the fans, and season tickets were at an all-time low this past year. Like, people are just like, this isn't fun. They're still hurting from Mike Leach. They're still hurting.
They need a bowl trip and a bowl win.
Exactly. And so backing into this bowl game kind of is taking a little bit of that monkey off your back. Like, hey, we're here. If they happen to win that bowl game, I think a lot of the Mike Leach stuff is going to be forgotten. I shouldn't say forgotten, but you've got it behind you and you've moved on, and you're starting to you've gone from here for Mike Leach, and then you've been going like this. So I think this might be the step up of it growing and getting back better again. So, I think that's the biggest thing for at least the fans of Mississippi State, for the boosters and money coming into that program, because if season tickets are all-time low, and we saw that stadium, Stephen, there was a lot of orange when Tennessee was there. There was a lot of powder blue during the Egg Bowl on one side of the stadium. State fans just did not want to come back to football because they were just hurting so much since Mike Leach had passed, and you fired a coach, and then you had an interim, and then you hired a young coach, and he lost. And so now it just looks like it's starting to figure itself out now. They're starting to get their feet under them. A bowl win here could be tremendous. It really, really could. If they lose the bowl game, so be it. If they get blown out in the bowl game, the hard times are still in Mississippi State. They haven't gotten over the passing of Mike Leach.
So, Heath, briefly, give me your thoughts, and this is an early preview of next Friday's matchup, Alabama and Oklahoma, the rematch. Because, like you said earlier, you don't want to be trending this way, and Alabama is definitely trending this way.
Kalen DeBoer, his first season in Alabama, started off strong. It ended kind of weak. This year they started off strong. Are they starting to go to where they're ending up weak? They lost to Oklahoma. They didn't look that great in some of the games. They win the Iron Bowl, but they get, blown out in the SEC championship. I don't know what's going on. I don't care what's going on down in Tuscaloosa. I don't. It doesn't affect my day. Doesn't affect my attitude. It doesn't affect anything.
Right.
Like most people, it only affects the Alabama fans. That's the only people it affects, and no one cares. So with that, is Alabama turning in the wrong direction? I don't know.
Yes, they are.
You can have your opinion. I don't really have an opinion on this. I'll say this. I like good football, and I love rematch football.
Right.
And so I know you don't care for rematches. I was tickled to death to see this Oklahoma-Alabama game because I was like, well, let's see if this game was a fluke and Alabama's better, or is Oklahoma just proving the point like, we're a better team this year. Right. Sit down. You're out. We're moving on. That's what we're going to get. Yeah. I do know this. One of these fan bases is going to be miserable after the game.
Yeah.
Because one fan base is going to figure out if Oklahoma happens to lose, there will be saying those things like, was it a fluke that we beat them? You know, what's going on here? And they go into the offseason on a down note. Or is it Alabama where it's like, oh my gosh, what is happening? What is happening here?
Yeah.
I'll say this. For the Bama fans that hate on Kalen DeBoer, man, you making all the same exact mistakes you made after Bear Bryant. You're making them all over again. I'm old enough to remember some of those days. But man, I mean, folks 50 and older remember what Bama football used to be under Bear.
Yeah.
And just the stupid, idiotic decisions the fan base and the administration made there in Tuscaloosa. And Gene Stallings kind of got it going in the right direction, but he didn't really fix the problem. And it didn't get fixed till Nick Saban came around.
And you know,
I'm telling you, I mean, Bill Curry, Ray Perkins,
the more chatter about fire DeBoer, fire DeBoer, fire DeBoer, fire DeBoer. That's just easy little in his ear of, hey, Michigan's open and they are a blue blood. If people don't respect me down here, bye, see ya. So, I mean, just keep on clamoring because Kalen DeBoer may be on the next trip to Ann Arbor.
Man, I'm telling you, man, I mean, Bill Curry left and took the Kentucky job. He left Alabama to take the Kentucky job.
Yep.
Ray Perkins won the SEC and got fired because he didn't beat Auburn. He was SEC champion and they fired him. Fired him.
Yeah.
What are we doing, Alabama? And so and then you had Gene Stallings, and it didn't look like it was going good, and then he won. And then Gene was ranked, I think, number 8 in the country and was looking good. Ran into some trouble in Starkville in 96, lost that game. And then people were like, we got to get rid of Gene Stallings. What? He just won you a national title a couple of years ago. You were number 8 in the country. Like, this is not a bad program. It's growing in the right direction. Bye.
Then you went through DuBose.
And
then
Mike Price.
Through Mike Price, then Mike Shula, and Dennis Franchione.
Yeah, Franchione left you for Texas A&M.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, do you see the pattern in Alabama? Coaches are leaving what is considered the best program in all of America. They're leaving because they don't want to put up with the craziness and the expectations that are completely unrealistic. 100% unrealistic. Listen, Bear Bryant, if you had asked me 10 years ago who's the greatest coach ever in college football history, I would have told you Bear Bryant. You asked me that question today, I'm going to tell you Nick Saban, and it is like lightning in a bottle 3 times that happened for you know, the same chances of that happening happened for University of Alabama. I don't know how you ended up with both those guys, but you did it, and you had huge success with it. Listen, Alabama, I hate to tell you this. You might find a coach that might win you a national title. He might win you 2, but you're probably not going to find a Kirby Smart that can win you multiple. You're probably never going to find a coach again to win you multiple national titles. Nick Saban ain't walking through that door. Miss Terry ain't going to let him. And don't blame her. Nick Saban gave you everything he had. So did Miss Terry. And you had massive success. But this is over. This is over.
Heath, Lane Kiffin ain't Kirby, and he ain't Nick Saban. Alabama thinks that Lane Kiffin is Nick Saban 2.0. You can forget it.
I'll say this. Do I think Lane Kiffin can win a national title at LSU? Yes, I do. Can he win multiple?
No.
Maybe. Lane Kiffin is known to drop 2 games unexpectedly every year.
Yes.
To randomly drop 2 games. He didn't do it this year. He didn't. But he is known to drop 2 games every year. Let me ask you this, Stephen. When he was head coach of the Raiders, what did he win of significance? Oh, nothing. Okay. When he was head coach of Tennessee, what did he win of significance? Oh, nothing. Okay.
1 year, I think.
And
He was
so
there 1
he was
year.
there for 1 year, and they were 7-5, I think.
Yeah.
So and then he bounces around. And now he's head coach of Florida Atlantic. Did he win anything significant there? Did he make the playoff? Did he do anything? No. Head coach of Ole Miss. Did he win anything significant?
11-1, and then bye, see ya, I'm gone.
So Lane Kiffin has had an entire career, almost 20 years, 15 to 20 years now, and he's never won anything significant.
The only thing was as a offensive coordinator with Nick Saban in Alabama, but never as the main man of a head coach.
I don't know. Hey, you might know this off the top of your head. I don't, Steven. I know we could Google it and figure it out pretty quick. How many titles did Nick Saban win at Alabama? 5? 6, maybe?
6.
Okay.
Maybe
And how many was Lane Kiffin there for? 2?
1,
1?
maybe.
Okay. 1 or 2. Well, let's just say 2. So Nick Saban actually won more national titles without Lane Kiffin than when he had him. Okay.
Correct.
So Lane wasn't necessarily the secret ingredient. Did he win national titles before Lane got there?
Yes.
Yep. Did he win national titles since Lane left?
Yes.
So, I mean, is Lane Kiffin an excellent coach? Yeah, he is.
But he's not all he's cracked up to everybody wants to make him to be.
And he's never won anything of significance as a head coach.
Right. And he had an opportunity this year in Oxford. And what did he do? Instead of cementing his legacy first, he chased this.
I don't fault him for taking the job. I see both sides of the story. I would completely understand 100% if he stayed in Oxford because he was going to get a pay bump. He was going to make, $12 million roughly there in Oxford, which Steven, call me crazy. I think you can get by $1 million a month in Oxford, Mississippi. Yeah. I think you can do that in North Central Mississippi. You can live off $1 million a month. I don't think that's a problem.
Don't know about Baton Rouge.
But man, this is just insane of where we are at right now.
And he's the only topper of this entire thing to make it to where this is bonkers is if tonight Nick Saban goes, I'm bored of sitting at home. I want to come back to coaching. I'm taking the Michigan job.
I don't see that happening.
I don't either, but I'm just saying, my gosh, man, what else can happen?
Dave Portnoy put up a fun little screenshot. He found a screenshot of John Gruden when he was still playing football and what his career aspirations were. And in that snapshot, John Gruden said, I want to be the head coach of Michigan. And I was like, wow. But guess what? John Gruden's, name is with every job. His agent does that.
Can we stop?
Do I think John Gruden wants to get into football now? Yes. Do I think that would be a mistake for most schools? Yes. Would it be fun? Would he win the press conference? Yeah, he'd win every single press conference. John Gruden always has. But you're not paying him to win the press conference.
No.
And so I don't know. I'll say this. There's a lot of people worse you could hire.
Yes.
There's a lot of people worse you could hire. But I don't know where Michigan goes, but I like Jim Harbaugh. I didn't have too much beef with the whole stealing signals. I mean, you steal signals in baseball. Yeah. You steal signals in every sport. Coaches have been stealing signals in football for ages, decades. This has been going on forever. This is not new. But he used technology. What do we not use technology for?
Right.
I'm not buying it. People want to get mad at the Houston Astros, and I get it. They were doing different things and beating garbage cans. I get it. Do I understand it? Yeah. Do I think that's the last time that's ever happened in Major League Baseball? Absolutely not. Every game, someone is trying to steal signs. They're trying to tip pitches. They're trying to find a way to get an advantage. That's part of the sport. That's part of all sports.
Right.
I didn't have a big deal with that at Michigan, but now everyone wants to make it a big deal, this and that. And now this fiasco is happening currently. What's going on right now at this hour in Ann Arbor. The whole thing with Jim Harbaugh, I can totally excuse.
Yes.
I really could.
Heath,
I know he got the show calls and all that. I don't care. And Jim Harbaugh didn't either. He thumbed his nose at the Big Ten. He thumbed his nose at the NCAA. He goes, I'm going to win this national title, and I'm going to go off the NFL. There ain't anything you can do about it.
Yeah.
And he's happy. He wanted to be in the NFL. He wanted to be in the NFL. He came back to help Michigan. Can Michigan find someone else to leave the NFL and come back? I don't think so, man. I think Michigan might be trending down.
All right. Heath, as we walk out the door here on Thursday, briefly, Saturday night is the Heisman Trophy presentation. I will not be watching because I don't watch the Heisman Trophy ever since Darren McFadden was snubbed of that, because I really thought Darren McFadden should have gotten it that year. But
Who won it that year anyway?
Smith from Ohio State.
He's a good player, man.
I don't know, dude. But we can debate that later on. But briefly, real quick, who do you have winning the Heisman Trophy, and what is your final ranking for the Heisman Trophy finalist on Saturday night? I'm going to go with, no doubt, Mendoza winning it from Indiana, but I'm going to actually put Diego Pavia because, Ohio State lost to Indiana. I'm going to have Diego coming in a close second, followed by Notre Dame's Love, and then I'm going to put Ohio State's quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think you nailed it. Your list is like mine. I always look at these situations like this. I see a lot of Georgia fans crying that Diego Pavia got first team All SEC yesterday. I saw Georgia fans real upset about that, and I just laughed, like, give me a break. But this is how I look at it. If you put Diego on Georgia's team, is it a better or worse team? I would say it's a better team.
Right.
If you put Gunnar Stockton up at Vanderbilt, is it better or worse? It's probably going to be worse.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I look at the Heisman Trophy. If you put Mendoza there at Vanderbilt, is it a better team? It possibly could be. Possibly could be. If you put Diego on Indiana's team, would it be better? Possibly. I don't know. I really don't, but it would be fun.
Right.
I don't have a problem with Mendoza winning this Heisman.
No.
I don't have a problem with it at all. If I had a vote, I would vote Diego number one, just because.
Yeah.
This has always been the problem with the Heisman. Does it go to the best player in college football, or does it go to the best player on the best team in college football? And as Tony Barnhart one time said, the answer is yes.
Now, Heath, I will give a little pushback, because there was one time that the actual Heisman Trophy got it right, and this team was not in the playoffs. But no, wait. I think we still had the BCS back then. He was not in the BCS game, but they did get it right the year that Johnny Manziel won it. He was no doubt the best player in college football that year.
I don't know if he was the best player, but he was the most exciting, and he was the most fun to watch.
Yes. So that one was not pretty much political and about ratings. That one, I actually believe they got right.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm still upset that Tim Tebow got snubbed. I want to say he had the most number one votes, but he finished second that year. It was the year after he won the Heisman, or maybe 2 years after. But Tim wasn't upset. Tim was just happy to be there.
Right.
He already won one. He was good. The Heisman Trophy, that's always been a big thing, and they get it wrong and this and that. There's so many guys that deserve this award. I mean, No one wants to see or talk about that offensive guard that's going to be the number one pick in the NFL draft in the very first round. No one wants to talk about that guy.
Right.
Or that offensive tackle, that left tackle that's just been dominating.
Mm-hmm.
And I get mad at the Heisman because I was like, why is everybody up here a quarterback? I
Right.
understand it's the most important position in football. I do get that. Quarterbacks and head coaches, they get too much credit and they get too much blame. They shouldn't
Right.
get all the credit that they do. They shouldn't get all the blame that they do either. But that's part of it.
Right.
That's part of the responsibility, part of the territory. I don't know, man. But as far as Diego Pavia, of what he's done at Vanderbilt in the SEC and taken the doormat program and built them up, and I didn't have breakfast. I'm hungry, yawning. And now everyone else watching this, you're now yawning. You're welcome. But yes, Diego he would trade this Heisman opportunity to be in the playoff. He would. But, I've always said this, Stephen. I've been saying this since grade school. That was back in the 80s, back in the 1900s. Why are we doing the Heisman Trophy right now? Why don't we do it after the bowl games?
Yes.
There's so many times guys win the Heisman and they lay an egg in the bowl game. So tremendously bad. Let's award the Heisman after the bowls.
Yes.
And I would say this, I think that would get some more participation in these bowl games. I mean, if you made the Gator Bowl, the whatever bowl, I know they don't play the Blue Bonnet Bowl anymore, but these smaller bowl games and guys are opting out, and I get it, you're getting ready for the draft, but there's a guy on your team that was up for the Heisman. He would play in that bowl game, and I got a feeling he would make sure a couple of his other teammates that were going to opt out would play. And I don't know, man. Why are we doing the Heisman now? Let's do the Heisman after the bowls. Let's just do it then.
Heath, the final thing I will say before we get out of here, Vanderbilt, a 10-win program, an unprecedented season for them, and new heights that they have never been to before. And who do they end? And who is the final opponent for Diego Pavia?
Oh, I don't know. Who is it?
8-4 Iowa. Give me a break. Give me a break, man.
I don't know.
Awful.
I love defensive football.
Matchup.
Iowa's always been good on defense. I'll watch that game. I would watch if Iowa was playing. I'm trying to think of who's the lowest team that made a bowl? LSU this year? If Iowa was playing LSU, I would watch that game.
Right.
Because I love defense, and every now and again we'll peek in on Iowa just to watch a couple of series or a half, just because I love defense. I do.
I mean, can you imagine Vanderbilt going up against Michigan? That team, I mean, that's a better matchup. And Michigan was 9-3 this year.
What bowl game did Vandy get?
What?
What bowl game did Vandy get?
ReliQuest Bowl.
The ReliQuest down in Tampa, the former Outback Bowl.
Yeah.
The Guy Harvey Outback Bowl in Tampa, or whatever they used to call it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man.
And that game's not even in January. That game is on the 31st of December. Come on, man.
That used to be a New Year's Day bowl game.
I know.
Wow. Be good for Vandy. They get to hang out in Tampa. They get the warm weather. They get to crash on the beach, enjoy St. Pete and Tampa and Clearwater in that area. I mean, the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
So good for them, man. I do wish they were in the playoff, though.
Yeah.
I really do. I just.
They're in Texas.
I'll say this. We've said it on the show before. Diego Pavia, man, if it's rumored that he's already been cleared to play next year, he would make more money next year at Vanderbilt than wherever he's going to play next year with the NFL as scout team, second team, excuse me, starter for the Browns, whoever. He would make more money if he stayed at Vanderbilt. And I get it. I get it. He's like, what, 26, 27 years old? I don't know how old he is, but I get it. He wants to move on.
You don't want to put that on him because you saw the longer Johnny Manziel and Tim Tebow played in college, the more that defensive coordinators zeroed in on what he did. And Johnny Manziel and Tim Tebow did not have the numbers in their last season that they did their first few. Let Diego go out with a potential 11 wins for Vanderbilt and send him on. Because I think if he comes back again, everybody will zero in on, okay, this is how we got to stop this guy. But let him go out on a high. Do not let him come back and get slaughtered next year.
I don't think they'd get slaughtered. I don't know, man. If I see the other side of the coin, and I see your side, and I do agree with all those things you just said. I do. I'm not pushing back on it at one bit. Right. I just see the other side of the coin of he could make more money. You got a 5-star quarterback who could redshirt because Diego's going to get you some blowouts probably and get that 5-star in. And there could be a lot of fun things happening. But, oh, man, it's fun to think about. But I just don't want this be the last time for Diego going out. But it is what it is.
All right, so Heath, we have gone an hour and 6 minutes. This has been an absolute blast with Adam Rittenberg and then you and I spitballing about college football. We will do it again tomorrow morning, right back here on the Stingray Show, and we will see you then with a special guest of Chris Lee from Southeastern 16 and with Vandy Sports to talk about the Heisman Trophy and for a preview of the bowl game season in the SEC. And we will see you guys tomorrow morning. And make sure if you are a Michigan fan or a college football fan, you keep up with the latest on the Michigan situation because it is constantly and currently a fluid one with all of the news that is coming out that is bad right now at Michigan.
Yeah, and I can't wait to talk about the hiring process. I'm sure we might touch on the head coaching hires for a question or two, but I can't wait to talk to Chris and his thoughts on all these coordinator hires, offense and defense, both sides of the ball, that's been going on in the SEC. Man, there's been splash after splash after splash as far as coordinator hires. I want to hear his thoughts about the new OC there at South Carolina. Bringing in a former head coach that was at Mississippi State just 2 years ago back to be DC. The DC that was hired up on Rocky Top yesterday. The hires that these new coaches have made as far as their coordinators. There's a lot going on right now. Yeah. Dude, I know one thing. This past season, Stephen, has been one of the best SEC football seasons I can remember in a long, long time. This has been a super fun season. I don't know if we'll get it next year, but it's starting to build up already that next year is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what 2026 has.
And Heath, move your head.
Oh, you talking about?
We are 14 days away from Christmas, my friend.
Do I need to do the mirror? Does it say 14 now?
There we go. 14 days away from ho, 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 Merry Christmas. And guys,
I go back and forth on you, know, with the camera.
All right, man. So we will see you tomorrow right back here on the Stingray Show. Hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed today's show, and we will continue our fun discussion on the Fried Baloney Friday edition of the Stingray Show.
Hey, are you going to try to kill me this Christmas like you did a couple of years ago?
No. No nuts for you, man. But I will leave you with this, Heath. I do hope that you had a happy birthday on Tuesday.
I appreciate it. I didn't get to celebrate. I'll make this quick. I know we're walking out the door.
Okay.
Folks born in December, we never, hardly ever get to celebrate our birthday on our birthday because We got this Christmas program, Christmas parade, this Christmas party, this get together, office, church, Sunday school class, kid stuff. My wife was sick. We got 4 kids. Our oldest was marching in the Christmas parade and doing that. And I was doing homework with the younger 2, and I had to pick up my oldest son from wrestling practice. I didn't get to do anything or go out to eat or anything on my birthday, man. But that's okay. It's okay. My wife took me to Key West 3 weeks ago. That was for my birthday because she knew that we weren't going to be able to do anything. It was Thanksgiving break. That's where I was. So she reminded me. She goes, "No, we already celebrated your birthday 3 weeks ago." So, but yeah, hopefully it won't be this weekend because everything's booked up, and it won't be the next weekend. It'll be Christmas. So maybe like around New Year, I could celebrate my birthday. Maybe.
Dude,
I would say like last year I celebrated it in March. We were so busy. That's when I got to celebrate my birthday with my family.
You think you've got it bad? Just ask my mother. She has been since 1955, the birthday right after the day after Christmas of December the 26th. Nobody has it that bad.
No one's around for your birthday party, man.
What now?
I said no one's around for your birthday party. Everyone's out of town.
Right. Or here's one gift.
One
for Christmas and your birthday. You don't get 2.
Yeah, that's wrong. Don't be that jerk.
No.
Jimmy Buffett. Everyone knows I'm a huge Jimmy Buffett fan. Jimmy Buffett was born December 25th, and his mom would fight you if you try to pull that crap with Jimmy. She's like, "No, you're getting him 2 gifts." And she would tell Jimmy in front of them that they're going to get you another gift. This is your Christmas gift. They're going to get you something else for your birthday.
Right.
Like she set that standard with the family long ago. Like, if you're going to buy any of my kids' birthday gifts, you're going to have to get 2 for Jimmy, 1 for Christmas and for his birthday.
All right. So that's going to do it for us. We will see you tomorrow on the Fun Friday, Fry Baloney Friday edition of the Stingray Show.
I'm making me hungry now, Stephen.
The chill is in the air, and what goes well with cold weather? Soups. The Coker Market, located in Coker, Alabama, has the following soups to choose from. Meaty vegetable soup, which is absolutely delicious. Loaded potato soup. Black bean soup, smoked ham and white bean chili, regular chili, which is another great option, or Creole gumbo. Now, the Coker Market is open Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 7 p.m., and to find out which soups they are going to have each day, you can find out at the Coker Market's Facebook page, The Coker Market. So check out their Facebook page today to see what kind of soups that the Coker Market is going to have, and go by there and get warmed up with some of the soups there at the Coker Market. How would you like to live where you love in the state of Alabama? Whether it is you're upsizing, downsizing, retiring at the beach, or relocating for your job, then you are going to want to contact Celeste Hagler, owner of First Class Real Estate South Home Group, with brokers in Tuscaloosa, Orange Beach, and Huntsville. They can help you with the buying, selling, and investment needs throughout the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste at 205-861-5698. Once again, that is 205-861-5698, and schedule a consultation to discuss your real estate goals anywhere across the state of Alabama. For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender. We all enjoy the changing of the seasons. Fall is a special time to be thankful for our families and many blessings. It is also a great time, though, to review your insurance coverages. Alpha Insurance and hometown agent Jeff Nee can help you personalize your insurance needs. The more you protect, the more you save. With helpful customer service teams right here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi, you can count on Alpha to provide the insurance plan that provides the protection that you need. For all your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call Alpha agent Jeff Nee or drop by his office at 202 McFarland Boulevard East, Suite 101 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And remember, with Jeff Nee, the more you protect, the more you save. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. You know, I tell people when they come in, you know, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. You know, we've got the capability to process it, make it. You know, if you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do you a brisket blend. We'll do you a chuck blend. We'll do you a sirloin blend. You know, we do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. That's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. You know, people call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You know, you want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show. And guys, tonight, it is Thursday, and the prime football game in the NFL is a matchup that is a rivalry. It is the Falcons taking on the Buccaneers. The Falcons are eliminated from the playoffs. Their record is 4-9, and they take on the Bucs, who are leading the division right now, and Tampa Bay is currently a 4.5-point favorite. And that game will kick off on Prime Video tonight at 7:15. The Stingray